What is up, everybody? I'm gonna have to get those voiceovers tweaked a little bit now. Now that we're kind of going a little different direction every now and then, but we got a really good show tonight. I'm happy. It's Tuesday night. I don't know why I love Tuesdays now. So, but welcome, guys. Welcome to the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast. This is where we're gonna connect melodies to memories tonight, especially tonight. We got a really good one tonight that I cannot wait to jump into. But as you guys all know, in the world of Eric Church, we have a new single. So I know you guys have probably heard this, but I mean, it's not his, but he has a little bit on it, right? Let's see. Yeah, he has like maybe like 2 seconds on the song, but I want to take bets and see how fast this was going to rise to number one because having Luke Combs bring Eric on, I think is huge. It's a great song. I know a lot of Luke Combs fans have heard it for about a year or so now, and it was really happy. I'm not happy that Eric's on it, so it's cool that Luke brought him on because Luke is at the top of his game right now, and it's amazing to have it out and see how good it does. So, but let me know in the comments if you guys are listening live right now. Let me know if you guys want to hear more of these two together. I think it'd be interesting to see these two kind of work together in the future, or maybe even tour together. But the kickoff, you guys saw our video from Arlo Revolution. They are cinematic wedding films, music videos, promos. He travels. He does a lot of work out in Nashville. Ryan Olson is somebody he's worked with. Check Arlo Revolution out on Facebook. A lot of the choir knows his older brother, Tony Castillo. So he is a really good friend of the church choir, and he's in the family. So check him out. Give him a look if you guys are looking for any kind of video work. And then also to Art on a Higher Wire with Joelle and Janet Stolth Creative. Check out their work. Both of them are very creative. And what they do in either the marketing field and the design field or the artistic field. Joelle's paintings are just phenomenal. I saw the ones she just did. Just amazing stuff that she's been doing. And then also to everybody that's part of our Patreon. Everybody that's signed up. I know tonight's a good night because if you're part of the Patreon, you do have our monthly giveaway. And tonight we're going to pick a winner. So if you are a $5 or more Patreon a month, you are entered in to win this prize pack tonight. And I'm really excited because it's going to be a good one. But people have been asking for ways to help support the show. Patreon is the heart and soul of the show. If you guys could help out there, that's the best way to do it. It starts at just as low as $3 a month. That would help out. We have some really cool perks. I'm going to keep adding some stuff. I know our merch perks out there. We have a bonus episode that I do every night. So just go check it out if you guys can. And it's a pretty cool little thing to do. But if you are on Patreon, let's see. But if you can't help support on Patreon, Apple Podcasts, you guys, it's probably the best thing to do. Go over there, subscribe, 5-star it, review it. My guest tonight, we're going to talk a lot about podcasting too in a way and how just any kind of reviews always help. Facebook's the same way. If you see somewhere where you could go and suggest something on someone's page or review it, do it. If you support them and you believe in them, you got to do it. And because it helps get the word out more and more for something that you believe in as a person. So without further ado, let's go ahead and pick. Let's see. This was writing like last week. All right. Let's see. Who's it going to be? Christy Johnson. Oh, you can't see that. Christy Johnson, you won this prize pack. Everything in this will be shipped to you. I'll get your name or your address from you, and we'll get it shipped out. So you guys probably done hearing me guys talk, huh? You guys want to be bringing the guest tonight or what? Trying to catch up on the chat. So, but thank you guys for liking us. If you guys are live, this is going to be a great show tonight. Ask questions. I'm going to throw them up on the screen. Any kind of comments, anything, we're going to ask questions. Go ahead. If you're listening on this afterwards on the podcast, after you're done listening to this, go check out The Long Cut by Noah Smith. It's another podcast. We're going to talk about it here in a little bit. And I've been catching up on it lately, and it's phenomenal. But if you guys are ready, so am I. Let's bring them on. What's up, buddy? How you doing?
On, how are you?
Everybody, welcome Noah Smith. So, welcome to the show, man. It's really cool because this is my 22nd episode, and up till now, I've interviewed a lot of fans. I had one other kind of local regional artist on, but they're on a Chief tribute band, Eric tribute band. So it's cool to have you on tonight, man. I'm really excited to be able to sit down and talk with you and kind of give you an interview from a fan's perspective, I guess to say.
Yeah, very cool, man. I'm excited. I know we've been talking about doing this for a while, and it turned out I'm out here on the West Coast, and I got some time to kill, so it's good to be here and sit down and talk with you.
Oh yeah, I cannot wait. I mean, I was this last couple weeks or last week since we've talked about this, I've been throwing some topics out there and some different things I've kind of learned about you, and it's really cool because I mean, first off, I mean, I kind of just touched about it, but you have your own podcast as well too that you started. And what did you start? Did you just started kind of just in our way to reach out to the fans, or what were you kind of hoping to attempt with that podcast?
Yeah, I mean, it was that, but it also, the Long Cut podcast was, I put out a record in 2018 called The Long Cut, and it kind of just became a way of life. And honestly, my friends and fans and family they kind of got tired of hearing me talk about The Long Cut. It's just kind of a way of life and something I really believe in, how the way I've done music. Everybody talks about these big successes that rocket ship up, but for me and my band, it's just been this slow, gradual climb. And every show we play, we meet new folks and we learn as we go and we grow as we go. And I mean, that's part of the reason why we're sitting here having this conversation.
Yep.
And then I started thinking that, not just music, but it kind of parallels to other things people are doing in life in addition. So we started the podcast up just a way to start talking about my story. And then I actually have some new episodes that are going to be coming up, and we dive in talking to some new songwriters, some professional musicians, Rich Redmond from Jason Aldean's band, other guys like that. So yeah, it's just been a really cool thing, and I got to watch out because I love doing the podcast, like I'm sure you do. And
yeah.
Sometimes I want to just do the podcast. I need to be writing songs and getting on the road.
It can kind of overwhelm you in a way at times because it's addicting. Because you can kind of share your perspective of ways, and it's just you and a microphone. Like right now, it's just kind of you and I just FaceTiming almost each other and just kind of talking about podcasting. But it's fun because it's kind of a bug in a way. And I've listened for years to podcasts, which I'm sure you have, and probably never thought you'd have one. And to actually have somebody that would sit down and download an episode of you talking is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of therapeutic too when you're in your seat, interviewing. I mean, it kind of forces you. We're always so busy and talking, so it kind of forces you to sit back and listen a little bit. And I've learned a lot about myself through interviewing other people, and it's just been a good thing. So yeah, it's the Long Cut podcast with Noah Smith, and we have 4 new episodes that are going to be coming out here real soon.
Oh, that's great. I kind of binged it the last couple of days. I highly, highly recommend it if you guys are looking for a new podcast to listen to. If you have a long road trip or anything. It's cool because you get to learn who Noah is outside just hearing his music. So you get to kind of hear his behind the stories of his journey, of what he's been doing. But speaking of that, what got you into music? I mean, you're from Ohio, Southern Ohio or Cincinnati area?
Yeah, I'm about an hour east of Cincinnati. Brown County, Ohio is the claim to fame out there. Got me into music was just lyrics, was writing words. I kind of fell in love with words about 7th or 8th grade. I had like an English teacher that would do this free writing thing where, you had to write essays and all this stuff. Where she just told us, hey, sit down for 20 minutes and you would just start writing. And kind of naturally through that, it all kind of moved and changed. And then, about my freshman year of high school, I found my neighbor's guitar. And next thing you know, I started putting some of those words to music. And, 12, 15 years later, here we are talking.
That was me. When I was a senior in high school, I was in a creative writing class, and I am writing like a poem or a poetry. And I'm like, man, that's why I started getting the itch to kind of write songs. I still write like kind of like poems and poetry, but I started putting it towards songs. And it's interesting, especially when you go back and look at like stuff you would have wrote in high school or around that time, because then, especially now, things have changed so much. But I think you probably have some of your deepest songs from that period because you were learning. You were kind of teaching yourself the ways of life in a way.
Right. Yeah, it's always interesting. Sometimes I get out, I got stacks of notebooks. My great uncle was actually a poet, and he published all kinds of books and things. And so he always just kept his notebooks around. So if you go to my house, I have a ton of notebooks stacked up, and I'll get those out every once in a while, read through them. And it kind of sometimes it just kind of reminds you of who you thought you were at the time and who you definitely wanted to be as you grew up. And sometimes that's a really refreshing thing for me to go back and look at. And then it never fails. Some of those thoughts always make them way into songs I'm writing now. I mean, obviously I'm a different person than what I was when I was 16, but at 32, we're still doing it and finding inspiration through conversations, and it never fails. All that stuff kind of makes its way back somehow.
So did you always want to be a singer-songwriter, or would you want to lean more heavy on the songwriting side or the artist side? Because I met a lot of singer-songwriters or just songwriters in general, Jonathan Singleton being one of them. And I know he tried out the whole artist route, and he just really wasn't a fan of it, didn't like it. Did you always want to be an artist, or did you kind of want to just chill and just be a songwriter?
Honestly, man, I never really defined it so much as far as like Nashville's terms of you have to be a songwriter or you have to be an artist. Until the last couple of years, I didn't even really understand that was a thing. And now that I've learned kind of more of the business side of some things, I'm definitely see the point of that. So for me, I mean, I was just a creative kid. I was just a creative guy growing up and always finding a way to create art of some sort, whether, through performance stuff or no matter what I was doing. So naturally, I think it wasn't a choice for me to say like, hey, I'm going to be a quote unquote artist. I think I just kind of was this person. And I know that sounds pretty up in the clouds thinking, but I think naturally was who I was. And I just got the itch to perform and be on stage and perform live. And next thing you know, people started paying attention. And I think naturally I just kept fighting to get back up on stage every chance I could. And, still to this day, I'm trying to get on the road as much as I can and just get my words and my music out to meet as many people as I can. And after that point, it's really not up to me. I mean, it's up to country music fans, and it's up to music fans to decide if they love what I'm doing. And the only way to figure that out is get out there. So again, I didn't like wake up and be like, today I'm going to be a country music artist, but it kind of naturally, next thing you know, you look around and you do it long enough. I mean, this is what you're doing, and there's really no other option at this point. So
what was your full-time gig before? Are you a full-time artist now? Do you do this full-time?
Yeah.
Okay. What was your full-time gig before you did this full-time?
Yeah, so I was actually, the biggest thing that I did, I went to college and actually had a recording studio for years and always kind of messed around with the audio side of things. But for the last 8 or 9 years, I was actually laying water main, working construction for my family's business, my dad's business. He's actually, funny thing is he's actually retiring this year. So props to old Pops there. He's hanging it up. But I was in a ditch 10 hours a day, laying water main and connecting water services around the city of Cincinnati, shoveling. And that was the grind for sure, just being in the ditches.
So if the mains break, we know who to blame then.
Yeah. That's what kept us in business.
Hopefully the one underneath US Bank Arena will go first.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I've been to so many concerts in Cincinnati, like just one-off shows. That's actually the first place I ever met you. My wife and I wanted really to go and see the Elton John reunion or the last tour he was doing, which lasted like 3 years. And I think you were playing right over the border in Kentucky. And I came out, and you just got finished up. I came out and said hi real quick, got a picture with you, and just introduced myself. I think I bought a CD. And
that's right, man. I actually, I was kind of thinking about how we connected along this way. And I see that picture. I mean, that was awesome. And it's always a special time when somebody pops in. And I knew you were a music fan. I knew we'd be having this conversation someday.
Mm-hmm. Well, just diehard. And I think my buddy Jeff Brown, he's just like, oh, my buddy Noah's playing really close to Cincinnati tonight. You should go check him out. So I think it was the minute Elton John was done, we hauled ass over there to kind of check you out real quick. But I think you were wrapping up right as we walked in. I was like, we'll catch him. And then the next time I saw you was the church choir party, which, man, awesome. Thank you, by the way. I know Staples said the same thing. He's in the chat right now. But thank you so much for playing that party for us and this past May. And it was amazing, the lineup. Like, I still challenge Whiskey Jam to see if they can beat us for a better lineup because that lineup was phenomenal. And you added so much to it. So
thank you. I was definitely grateful to be invited to come out and just met all kinds of incredible people that day. And when you walk into a room like that, you just know it's a special day. And I've always kind of kept an eye, since I met Jeff. Shout out to Jeff, and just kind of talking about what you guys were doing. I didn't really understand the capacity at which you guys were that day. And then when I walked in and knew what you guys were raising the money from, and just that sense of community, I mean, you guys are definitely, you have something very special.
I see the way you're working things. I mean, well, let's go ahead. That's one of my questions. What is the Big Old Family? Go ahead and explain what that is to you.
Well, so I have a song called "Let the Clutch Out." That there's a lyric in that song that says it references the big old family, raising Cain, a hitch in our step, and there ain't no shame. And honestly, it's just kind of Actually, I got it right there.
There you are. I love that.
Through that song, people started singing along, and then I'm not sure if a fan came up with it or just through us talking after shows. Naturally, that's just kind of what my fan base started calling each other, and it really kind of turned into that organic thing of I've always struggled with calling my fans because for the longest time you're just people around you, and the next thing you know, the community grows, and I've always been a big part of wanting my fans to be a part of this journey with me.
When you succeed, they succeed. I mean, I remember the first time Eric Church ever had or won an award for Album of the Year. I felt like it was something that I helped accomplish. Like, I felt like a part of me, I won part of that award that day. And I think the entire church choir felt that way because it's something we've all worked together. And he kept us in the loop, so to say. I mean, there's so many artists out there who go out there and kind of just forget about their fans. And I mean, sometimes they don't do it on purpose. It's kind of like the way their people are and everything around it is, but they don't really kind of listen to it. And I feel like you just kind of like studying you last week and listening to your podcast and your music. I feel like you're a lot like Eric Church in a way, and growing that is you want your fans to be first and have them together. Just you doing that New Year's Eve show this past year just spoke volumes because you're a dad of 3 kids. New Year's Eve, you're going to want to be home. I mean, counting down probably with the kids, but you're out there with your family, pretty much your road family, and having this big old show. And it's cool, and it speaks volumes of a kind of artist like that.
Yeah, it's very true, man. And I've always been a big believer of that. I mean, at the end of the day, if I wasn't doing this, if I wasn't on this side of the guitar, I'd be at the shows. And, me and my wife, we constantly, if we can get to a show, we go to shows. We're just live music junkies. And, it's kind of unfortunate sometimes because I miss some great shows because I do have to go perform. But, in the reality of it, as a fan, if they come out to see my show, they're going to pay for a ticket. They're going to pay for whatever drinks and dinner they have that night. And, if they get a hotel or if they're coming in from out of town, I mean, there's people that are spending $500 to come see a show. And that's something that I don't take lightly. And whenever we put a show together that, I'm a part of booking and finding the opening acts and things like that, I'm really passionate about. I want them to come out, not just enjoy a Noah Smith show, but to wake up the next morning and say, I had a great Saturday night. Noah Smith was part of it. This guy that I wrote songs with, or this gal that I've wrote songs with was a part of it. And that really just kind of grows from there. But I think you're spot on. I mean, Eric does a fabulous job of that. I mean, it's obvious.
One thing I saw Church kind of doing in this last tour that I would love to see more artists do in a way is kind of have a hype man in a way. So Eric had this guy, his name was Justice. He would run around. He would do stuff during the day, like choir games and stuff. But I think there should be because like you're saying, people make weekends out of it. They work months and save up a long time for shows like New Year's Eve or these bigger shows. And they want to make it I know Scott Staples, he does a lot of our pre-show parties and everything like that. And he makes them where it's cool where like he could be the type of guy where you kind of go and every city, he's the one that's in charge of getting the fans riled up before the show. You're doing you're calling up the local bars and finding 2-for-1 deals. That guy's setting it all up. Yeah. And then maybe you're sneaking in, playing 2 songs real quick acoustic and sneaking out the back door or something. Stuff like that is always cool.
I feel like I need to get to Amazon and purchase one of those T-shirt cannons.
Yeah. Those are always fun, dude. And I'm surprised more artists don't have those things. I know Church had a spray gun at one time. That always makes me mad, man. Like, I understand, like, the whole Luke Combs does it too. The whole throwing a drink in the crowd. But can you imagine someone that doesn't drink, soaked in Jack Daniels, driving home, getting pulled over? How do you explain that?
I'd be lying if I didn't say I've looked up t-shirt. I've priced me some t-shirt cannons before.
Oh, those would be cool. You just need one of those potato guns.
Right.
So you played New Year's Eve. You were supposed to be done at midnight, correct? And then you came back on and played for another hour or so?
Yeah, well, 2 years ago, we definitely kind of overstayed our welcome, if you will. We just kept on playing. The way I see it, we're going to do that New Year's Eve show every year, and it's just a way for us to have the best New Year's Eve party we can. And, yeah, it's always a good time. Sometimes it's hard to get us off stage.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing because there's so many artists out there. There are so many groups I'll go and see. It's hard to keep them on stage at times. So you worry, like, you're wondering, like, hey, come on. Like, I don't know, I saw...
It's kind of a joke inside my band, whenever naturally everybody gripes a little bit about this and that. And it's we always say, Starbucks is always hiring, man. And we kind of have a new thing we've been saying. We put it up in my rehearsal space, and it says we get to do this because the truth is, no matter what you do, if you're putting in your hard work, it's hard. What we do is hard. I mean, it looks pretty easy some nights, but there's a lot of time and late nights and long drives and all of that. But at the end of the day, we're very blessed to be able to do it. So I just, try to remind ourselves we get to do this, and we get to get up there and play. So until they turn the power off, we'll give it all we got.
Angela says we would listen to Noah all night.
Yeah. I believe that. What's up, Angela?
Trying to throw up some of these comments as we can. Lisa says, big old family, love being at Noah's shows.
Hey, so, what's up, Lisa?
I gotta see one of these full band shows. Now you're coming to Chicago soon. Is that gonna be full band when you come to Emerald Isle here soon?
Yeah, everything I think that's on the calendar, aside from maybe an Eddie's Attic date, we're full band. Out hitting the road as hard as we can.
I know it's a little hard to see. I was trying to make this graphic earlier, and it's a little small. But you're gonna be March 24th, Atlanta, March 28th, Kentucky. All right, you're gonna be in Chicago, April 18th, I think it is. Emerald Isle, man. I hear so many great things about that place. I haven't been there yet. I'm actually talking to the guy that runs it right now about maybe a future date for a show coming up.
Great spot.
We got requests, man. North Carolina. You got any plans for 2020, North Carolina?
We're working on it. If somebody, if you got a suggestion, throw it up. We're looking for spots. We've definitely talked to some people down there. I've toured through there acoustic in the past, but we're trying to bring the band everywhere we go this year, and definitely hoping to get back down to North Carolina.
I know, listening to your podcast, you're talking about you were doing house concerts for a while. Are you doing any this year at all? Are you planning on, or what's your idea of doing house concerts too? We'll go into that after. But do you have any plans for any future ones?
Not in 2020. I think we're just keeping the band on the road as much as possible. Things pop up and move as the year goes. But, I did those in the past, and they're honestly, I actually just hosted a house concert in my own living room for an artist named Percy Bell.
Nice.
So it's such a cool experience if you can find the right group of people that understand what's going on. And it's definitely a unique listening environment. But, yeah, we're out with the band, trying to keep the band busy and just kind of do our full thing and go in, kind of kick them in the teeth, if you will. But house concerts, if you ever get a chance to go to one or host one, I'm definitely a big believer of that world. It's definitely a special way to share music with your friends and family.
I try to host one once a year. I took last year off just because financial things, and but I try to host one once a year, and it's fun because you get people down here and they actually listen to the music. And it's not like you go to a bar, they're drinking, they're loud, there's people talking in the background. Like a house concert, you actually hear a pin drop at times, and you listen to the stories, you get hung on, and they're really cool just hearing some of these stories that you guys could relate to the songs. And like I was talking to Jeff Brown about this, and you talk your new single that's coming out, Cigarettes and Jesus, you talk about the church choir in there. And songs can mean so many different things, and that's why I love hearing the songwriter's version of it. Because like you're talking about like singing in the church choir in the new single. But like when we hear it, we almost think of our family in the church choir, like our brothers and sisters that have our backs. And we hear it in a different way, and so we can relate to your songs. And I mean, how does that make you feel when you get stories, or how does that make you like if you get stories when people are trying to take your lyrics? It's not the way you meant them to sound, but now you're like, oh wow, this can kind of go a different way too. I mean, how do you take that sometimes your lyrics?
There's a lot of truth to all that you're saying, and I'll be honest. Sometimes the longer I play a song out, it'll kind of change the meaning to me because fans come up after shows, or I look it in their eyes, or they might raise a drink up, and I start realizing like, oh, that line right there actually means something completely different to them. And I think at first, as a young writer, you kind of get defensive about that, but it's you're sharing, and it's up to them. It's not my job after that, and sometimes those lines come back, and I've even kind of gotten where I've noticed like I'd go back and watch an old video and I'm actually telling a different story because 3 years later the song actually does mean something different to me. And so because it's a very living and breathing thing with me and the fans, up on stage and through coming through speakers, that what I meant by it might have changed, and then next thing you know, it's like, that song now means something else to me. So I always love it. I love it. One of my favorite things to do is hear what my songs are meaning to somebody else, because I can think I have the best. I got a gold bar in my pocket and it's the best thing in the world, but it's all trash unless somebody else believes so too. If not, I just stay in my room and play by myself.
That's funny. Now writing these songs, like I know there was a song that Eric recorded, like Jesus Does. He didn't write it. It was one of the only songs he's ever recorded that he didn't write. But it's kind of going back like the church choir, how we're talking. Like it's a song where it sounds like he's talking about like a lover, like a wife or a girlfriend. But he's like talking about how they'll never leave you, this and that. And I got to thinking one day, I'm like, no, that sounds like a mom. I mean, that sounds like a mom that would never leave you. So it was right before I got married. I actually ended up asking Eric, I said, what are you singing about? He goes, well, you could kind of take it either way. I was like, well, dude, man, that sounds like your mom. Like, we're dancing it at my wedding. So that's my mom and I's dance. And he loved that song. But like for you, you just recorded a song that you didn't write. How do you do that? How do you go about, or not how do you do that, but how do you as a songwriter record a song that you didn't have a hand in? Is it tough? Or is it just kind of one of those things like, damn, I wish I would have wrote it, and I'm so glad I get to cut it?
I think the truth is, it just shows the power of songwriting and songs, and that it all starts with a song. And here's why. If you'd asked me this question 10 years ago, my answer would be, man, I'm never going to put out anybody else's music. I'm never going to play anything that somebody else wrote. I can't believe in something that I didn't write. And then I heard a song called Out of State Tags that I didn't write, that I did release. And that song just stuck around. And I kept believing in it and believing in it. And then the artist that wrote it, Trapper Haskins, is a good friend of ours. He's actually got a record coming out this year. I started falling in love with Trapper's music, and then we started doing shows, and next thing you know, we're good friends, and we're sleeping on his floor when we're touring. And then you wake up one day, and I think, you know what? Man, I wonder if I could ask Trapper if it would be okay for me to put that song out, because I'd like to give it some life of my own, because I believe in it that much. So 10 years ago, if you'd asked me that, I never would have told you that. So I think that just goes to prove that the power of songs and good songwriting is it all starts with a good song. And it was different for me, but it's every time I play it. The cool thing is, I mean, I get to play one of my favorite songs, and it's my song now. So.
Well, it's a cool song. I don't know if you guys can hear it in the background here. I love "You're too cool for school." I love that line, but it's just cool because Out of State Tags. It's kind of like another thing that Jeff Brown and I were talking about. I just love that guy. I mean, he's so cool to sit down and talk about because he's another guy that, I mean, that's why I could tell you and Jeff get along so well, because his music knowledge is just unbelievable. But we were talking, we were kind of like, yeah, traveling to concerts. We're all the Out of State Tags. We're the guys coming in with all 10 different or 12 different states all coming on to one show and coming to see it and bringing all the Out of State Tags with us. And it's just an amazing song too, so it's really cool to hear you sing it, and it was cool to hear it. But I want to ask if it's tough, because being a songwriter, you do want to have a hand in things, but when you hear that song and it's just like, dang, I wish I would have had a hand in it, but if I'm going to be cut it, I'm going to roll with it, and I'm going to be cool with it and have fun with it.
Yeah, Well, actually, it's cool. Sometimes we get to play live, and Trapper, we'll be in a town near him or near
Cool.
Nashville, and he'll stage. And we recorded a live record last year, Noah Smith live at the Ludlow Garage. And you can jump on my YouTube channel, and there's actually a recording of me and Trapper, or the band and Trapper, playing that song. And he comes out at the end and he sings a chorus. And on that live record, honestly, it's my favorite moment in that entire live record, because we got to share that together. And he came up and told me that. He said, I came into a new town and played that song, and people are singing it back to me. And so,
Nice.
it's a gift that we get to share with each other for the rest of our lives now. And I'm very happy and honored that he let me cut that song, and really excited about it.
How does it feel having an album on vinyl? Did you ever think you'd have something on vinyl?
Yeah, but I have a problem now. I want to put everything on vinyl.
It's not cheap, I hear.
Yeah.
Well, but then you can start marketing like 4 different colors and.
Right. That's right. Yeah,
no, it's just cool because I mean you and I are close to the same age. Just growing up, I mean our parents had tons of vinyl, and to think last year alone that vinyl outsold CDs, that is just unbelievable.
And vinyl's a very good way for you talk about the experience with fans. I mean, we're trying to always find ways that we can care for fans, and I think vinyl's a really special way to do that, because you get your CD, and a lot of time people ask for an autograph on that, but the vinyl's definitely something special that I feel like we kind of give fans to say, this is a one of a kind. Nobody has that record. That exact print is
Exactly.
So I really like the fact that we were able to put that live record. There's 8 songs on there, and they're all great. Sounds so good. So I got it sitting in my record stack with some Bruce Springsteen right now.
There you go. Well, if you guys are looking for his vinyl, check out his store at NoahSmithMusic.com, correct?
Yep.
I mean, we'll get all later on in the show too. But yeah, guys, check out his store over there. Some cool stuff. I love this shirt. I think it's a newer shirt you just put out with the cigarettes on it. That's an amazing shirt.
Yeah.
So some cool.
Jesus, there it is.
Damn, I'm excited. So you got a date yet when that's coming out?
Stay tuned. This March. It's coming out in March. So
okay.
You can keep an eye on it. Sure.
Nice. Well, we got to make a push for it for sure. Definitely get it out there and get it shared for you. And I know your big old family will, but we'll have to help you out and see what we can do. And
oh man, I appreciate that so much.
So talking about like kind of learning stuff about you and everything, listening to your podcast, I thought I heard one of your last episodes that's live right now that you did something work with Hope Song.
Yeah, I went down to Hope Song or to Chip's Hospital down in Mexico. Yeah, okay. Hope Song Nashville. There it is. Yeah.
Yep. My buddy Lewis Bryce, he's a big part of that too. So him and Satterfield, and I forgot who else. I know Lee's a part of it too. But how did you get kind of hooked up with these guys?
Yeah, through Stevie Montz, actually. Honestly, I was kind of blown away because I've been down in Nashville for a few years, just grinding away. I don't live down there permanently, but I'm down there during the week a lot and writing and playing in different circles. And so when I got asked, to be real transparent, I mean, it set me back, and I thought, wow, like these guys are paying attention to what we've been doing and what I've been doing in town. And because I kind of always saw that as like an inner circle thing.
Yeah.
So it meant a lot to me, but then when I got to go down there and be a part of it, it was really a gift to me to be able to share. We basically would go to the hospital every day, and music therapy was part of Chip's Hospital's entire program for rehabilitation. And so we got to go and play and meet so many cool people and hear their stories, and it was just an awesome thing. And then at the end of the day, I got to spend a week in Mexico, which wasn't a bad deal at all.
Yeah, here's a great thing. I hear they're going to start doing like some touring shows and some different things too. But if you guys don't know what Hope Song is, their mission is to fund integrated cancer treatment for those in need and to provide musical performance as a form of therapy to assist in their treatment. So you're playing for just, cancer patients down there, but you're kind of giving them a little bit of hope, I guess, at the same time. Yeah. Well, Hope Song is the name of it, but yeah, if you guys can ever get you guys are out there listening, you can come and be a part of it in any way. Check it out. It's a great cause. So yeah, I overheard you kind of touch on that, and I'm like, well, that's something we got to bring up because I was familiar with it with Lewis, and that's why when I heard you're a part of it too, I was just like, I've always kind of thought it was really cool what they were doing.
Yeah, they do some events in Nashville as well, and I think the backstory behind it also was. it wasn't just, it is the Hope song, obviously the name, but they actually noticed they did it for a little while and realized that just kind of the full body treatment and mind and body and heart together, that their patients started, doing a little bit better. So that's when they came in. I think it's full time. There's always a songwriter in town at the
Oh, wow.
hospital, and really special for sure.
It hits close to home because my wife works at a cancer hospital here in town, and just hearing the different stories and everything else that you hear every day, and especially like coming out of St. Jude and Memphis as well. Like I kind of, whenever I'm around Memphis, I kind of will sneak in, or if I have any extra football cards, I'll drop them off at the hospital if I can. But it's just stuff that it's just crazy that when you think of the world and what's going on, and how just a song, just going to a hospital or somewhere and just singing a song to somebody could give them so much more life for a day. And
Yep.
like I was learning after we lost Kobe here, they're talking about how Kobe Bryant used to do this in like almost every town he went to. He would sneak in and not tell it. Like he would say, "Hey, I would do it, but no PR." Like, and then they would bring him in the back door into the thing. And they said almost every time he would go somewhere, he would go and visit a cancer patient or somebody in the hospital. And I just think like that. And then people wonder why when celebrities die, we kind of relate to them in a way as fans of that celebrity or that higher power. And it's because the way they have to connect. And
Right.
I hated, like, I'm not a political person, but how they were comparing like celebrities and military. I mean, people sign up for different jobs. People will sign up to be an artist because they love performing. People will sign up to be in the military because they love protecting. And they don't want to get the gratitude for protecting. For performers want to have that gratitude. And when I think of stuff like that, like when people are doing stuff and doing the songs, I love that you guys will spend time and do stuff like that. And most of the time on your own dime at times, like it was locally and everything too. Like I know for our party this year, you came in and you were going to play on your own dime, and then Jeff was able to kind of split it up and pay a little bit of the artist to help them out a little bit too. But I just think it's awesome, like kind of like when you guys give back, like especially I know you help out a lot and do a lot of different things. Oh,
Well,
they
I'm
said
always
Andy said you performed for TJ Martelli as well?
Yeah, TJ Martell.
Oh, Martell, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to, actually, we're doing another event down at Eddie's Attic this year, so keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
With guys, and incredible. I mean, I have a tremendous amount of gratitude for what I get to do in my life. So anytime that we can find space to do it, I love to jump on and be able to help out. And I hope we continue to do that because, and then at the end of the day, it gives me a chance to show my boys too that, there's more to life than just going out there and piling up the money. There's something out there.
Well, I mean, it's nice, like, I mean, to fill a couple ponds on your land, but it's also nice at the same time to kind of give back at the same time, like when you can.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that because they always talk about Entertainer of the Year is always a hot topic whenever it comes to the church choir and everything else. And they're like, well, how does Garth Brooks win every year? Well, he's out there building homes. He's out there doing extra things, and he's out there doing what he's supposed to do, like show up, be who he has to do, and then go back home or whatever. Like he's out there and he's kind of busting his butt, and I can see how that is, and I see that in you too. Kind of just like listen to your podcast. You're out there doing a podcast. You're out there playing house shows. You're out in San Francisco this week. You're out just doing different things. You're not just kind of you don't even live in Nashville, and you still travel. I mean, how often do you travel back and forth? I mean, right now.
Yeah, man. Just to interject you, I'm gonna hook my phone up because
Oh,
I had like 80% and it's diving, but I'm gonna keep chatting with you.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So in 2017, man, I actually pretty much started February 2nd of 2017. I started going to Nashville every week, actually. So it was just a lot, but I was looking at, I was laying water main 10 hours a day, 4 days a week. And me and Candace started talking, and we said, let's just make a jump. And her photography business is incredible, and that's actually why we're out here in San Francisco.
Nice.
For her, she's actually at a conference, and so yeah, you just got to jump in and do it. And what the funny thing is, I actually see my boys more traveling than when I was, clocking into work every day, because you come home and the next thing you know, you got an hour or two, you eat dinner and they go to bed. Well, the last, few months of my life, I've been able to take them to school in the mornings, and that's something that means a lot to me. And I might be gone for 3 or 4 days and then we're back, but it's definitely a lot, but it's worth it. It just looks different. I think it takes a long time a lot of people that are doing anything in their life that's outside the norm, you kind of got to be okay that like your family or but you just got to wake up and say, this is what I do and this is what my family does and this is what we look like. Um, so it's just different, man, but we love it. We got a cool life and it's wild and crazy and it's just getting started. That's for sure.
I'm telling you, man, it's going to get busier for you. So in 2017, you won Cincinnati Entertainment Award winner for Best Singer-Songwriter, dude. That is phenomenal. This is a picture from it here.
Oh, yeah, there we are. That's right.
There you go. That is awesome, though. So this is like all of Cincinnati that you're up nominated for? Or?
Can you hear me? Sorry, man.
It's all good. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, I'm right here.
You hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay.
Everything's froze up on me a little bit.
Okay. No, so you won the Cincinnati Entertainment Award for Best Singer-Songwriter. Now, is this kind of like just around Cincinnati, or does it branch out to the suburbs of Cincinnati? I mean, what kind of this is pretty big. This is awesome.
Yeah, it was a really cool. It was a big deal, man. We've City Beat is kind of the local throwaway magazine and things in Cincinnati. And growing up, you just wanted to be listed on their shows, and so to be able to win that award, I mean, it's the first kind of accolade that I ever won. But it was definitely cool.
First of many, though. It
came after a year of me putting in a lot of miles, so I was definitely grateful and appreciate that. And it helps us book shows, I think. So it's cool.
Oh yeah, yeah, because you can put that tag now. 2017 winner. It's always good. So another thing I kind of learned, I didn't really want to touch on too much because I want fans to kind of go back and listen to your podcast too and kind of catch up. If you guys have not listened to The Long Cut, go check it out on Apple Podcasts. Like it, share it, 5-star it, whatever you got to do. I learned something that you, instead of doing music, you almost want to do theater in a way.
Yes, well, I went to school I went to the College Conservatory of Music
at
the University of Cincinnati for audio and video. And, about 2 or 3 years into it, I went through this hallway. This is a very true story. I kind of roamed through this hallway, and there was these just gnarly looking dudes with paint covering them, and they had like welder's mask on. And I grew up very blue collar. My dad's a heavy construction worker and just hard work doing tobacco and stuff. So I was like, oh, these guys, what are these guys up to? So I almost changed my major. I'm glad I didn't, because I don't really use my degree as far as like I didn't go get a job because of it, but what I went to school for definitely helps me build my career as an artist and as a musician. But yeah, I was always, my family was always real big into that. Like I said, my dad was like, grunt construction, but hey, go be in the plays or go be, multidisciplinary. It's not just about being a jock. It's about doing this and this and this and making this well-rounded approach at life. I'm very grateful that my mom and dad raised me that way. We try to do that with our boys too, because sometimes, it's like you are going to be a football player and that's all you get, or you could go the opposite way, like you're going to be a pianist or whatever, but just taking that kind of well-rounded view at life's always been cool. But yeah, I love going to plays and theater. I mean, it's all just live shows, performing, and I'm in love with it all.
So you interviewed actually the guy from $1 Million Quartet, and that's what kind of led into that.
Yeah,
and you actually,
Adam Lee.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, great interview too with the guy. So did you get to see the Broadway performance of that, or?
I have not seen it.
Oh no! Oh, it's great, man. It's great. My wife and I, we actually saw. I think he was the one that was in the Chicago run, and we saw it at the Apollo Theater in Chicago. So I think we actually saw one of his shows. So, cool. But yeah, if you ever get the chance, if it comes back around, check it out. It's really cool. So it's definitely. I'm a fan of Memphis. That's what the name of the show and everything too. And so I got to tour Sun Records and actually bought the album of $1 Million Quartet, the actual show, and it's something really cool. If you never actually sit down and listen to the whole album. It's cool because Sam Phillips never hit the record hit the stop button. He recorded conversations in between the two. In between all of them, and it was just really cool to kind of. Everybody say, "Oh, I wonder what it'd be like to be a fly on the wall," and that's kind of like what the $1 Million Quartet was. Sam Phillips was that fly on the wall that decided to hit. I mean, he was a genius. Just decided to hit record, and record this amazing night right before Christmas. I mean, you got Elvis and Johnny Cash doing Christmas songs together almost. So, just some really cool stuff. But yeah, I was a big fan of $1 Million Quartet. So when I heard you guys kind of interviewing and talking about it, like I just loved it. So it's one of my better shows, or one of my favorite better shows.
Yeah, there's another play out there called King. It's about King Records,
Okay.
which is based out of Cincinnati. Ton of history of music. I mean, Cincinnati's got a ton of rich music history, from Motown to country music. One of the last places that Hank Williams ever recorded is still in Cincinnati, called Herzog Studios.
Okay.
And yeah, so check it. I love all that stuff. I love how you're just telling people, like, don't just listen to country music. Go out and find it all, you know.
Well, you have to. I mean, there's such a wide range of music because, I mean, what is country now? And it's kind of like, I know Loretta Lynn or whatever just came out on that podcast and said country music's dead. And that's something else I kind of pulled this picture up because I wanted to kind of bring that up to you about. But do you think that, I mean, country music is dead? Because what is country music to you?
I think that for forever in time in history, there was people that are going to complain about this same situation. I think there was people back when, you know, Waylon and Willie were hitting it when their younger years that were probably saying these same conversations, and they were griping about the same stuff. And I might get some pushback from this, but if you put their records up, they're great records and great songs, but sit down and listen to a bunch of records from the 1930s. It all sounded the same. Sit down and listen to music from the 1960s. It all sounded the same. It's just this process. I mean, I don't try to fight it. I don't think country music's dead. I think music is progressing. I think we live in a time. If we stop the progression, now, and we did that same thing back then, we wouldn't have an artist like Eric Church. I mean, we wouldn't have the artists. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing.
You wouldn't have a Prince.
You wouldn't have a Prince.
Yeah.
All of that music layers on top of itself and inspires the next generation. The truth is, if we come up with some scenario to end that, if they would have done that years ago, I mean, country music wouldn't exist. So I'm excited. I think it's a great time to be making music. It's a good time to be a music fan.
I agree.
I mean, years ago, somebody like yourself couldn't have a platform to be able to show your taste or show your thoughts on this. But now we get to be, you know, we get to dive in. It's a little tricky because everybody thinks they're an expert, but there's
no experts.
Yeah.
We learn something new every day. But she was talking about kind of like it's the pressure to evolve the genre. Have you ever felt like pressure? I mean, or is that anything that concerns you as an artist, that maybe that there is pressure to evolve the country music genre? I mean, to what it was? I mean, to me, the best country music that's ever been was 90s country. I don't think we'll ever get anything back. I mean, I do think you, Luke Combs, Cody Johnson, there's some names out there that I definitely do feel that is kind of bringing 90s feel back in a way. But I don't even know if there's pressure to evolve, but it's kind of like what you were talking about. If everything sounds the same, it's going to get boring after a while, and you want a new thing. And I think it's okay to kind of cross over, and I think genres should just be another thing. I mean, genres is just so wild now. I think playlists should replace genres in a way because
Right.
I mean, like I said, what is country music? I mean, everybody says, what is country music to you? Is it Johnny Cash or is it Leonard Skinner? I mean, it's two different versions, Southern rock and country, but it's like, and then you throw in John Prine, Americana, singer-songwriter type music, which I think you fall more in that kind of category with your Eric Churches, your Bruce Springsteens, and whatnot. And it's kind of like, then you have your Kane Browns, your Florida Georgia Lines, and all that poppy rap country. And it's still country in a way. And it's just kind of like, as a fan, there's so wide range of country music. And it's kind of hard. I mean, I don't know. Just as a fan, like, I could see country as 4 or 5 different genres in a way.
Right.
So, because I think Southern rock is almost that, because there's really not much Southern rock being played out there anymore, other than cover music.
I think a legendary band of our time. It's really easy to kind of talk about these guys as the Eagles. I mean, where did the where did the Eagles fall in? Were they country? Was
Yep.
it Southern rock? Was it rock and roll? Was it pop music? Like
They're a rock and
and
roll
really,
band, but you listen to them now, they're country.
right.
Country.
And to me, I think the genre thing gets a little tricky, but it always, again, it just comes back to a song. I mean, there's some hip hop songs that are great songs. There's some country songs that are good songs. And I don't think I'm in any position to say that somebody shouldn't be making music the way that they make it or making sounds that they make the way they make it. But as far as country music, I mean, I think we have to be careful to draw too many hard lines. Again, to go back to what I said, I mean, I really believe that if those lines were drawn years ago, we wouldn't have the great artists that are on top of the world right now. I mean, I really believe in that. And the truth is, man, it's just like fantasy football. I mean, people are going to want to talk about this stuff forever.
Yep.
So
who it's like who you drafting this year? It's like who's
right.
going to be your starters this year? So this year, I think music is heading into a really good direction. I know a lot of people kind of judge Luke Combs the way he's going, but it's kind of cool to see how he's blown up because I remember seeing pictures. I remember who Luke Combs was. I remember seeing him front row in a North Carolina Eric Church show wearing an Eric Church shirt, just rocking out like one of us, and now he's selling out. I just think he just hit it at the right time, and he had that 90s country feel, and he just kind of he was an overweight looking dude, that scruffy looking guy that kind of was just your average American. And I think that's why everybody in country music fell in love with him so much and related. He's relatable.
Yeah, he's a monster vocalist. He's a monster songwriter. It's, again, to kind of take the sports analogy. I mean, people can get on people for having great success, but it's kind of like when someone gets drafted into the NBA. It's like, you should go to college. It's like, well, if you have the opportunity to go make your millions right now, like, go do it. I love me some Luke Combs songs, and there's some great songs. And you mentioned him and Eric doing that song together. I think it's gonna be really cool to see what that does. And again, you could take those two worlds and bend them. I mean, you could call Eric Church, the genre that a genre, and he's kind of not that. He's Eric Church, right? And then you have Luke Combs that I think you could kind of put into here, and them two are coming together. So why draw the lines? Let's just make some good music and write good songs.
Exactly. And I remember like when he was coming up, when Luke Combs was coming up, he was doing so much acapella stuff too, and all that Vine stuff he was doing was just unbelievable. But it kind of makes me think, though, in a way. Like, I remember when I first got to meet Eric, he would talk about actually getting the first time he ever met Chris Christopherson. And it was something that always stuck with me. Chris Christopherson told Eric Church, he goes, just always remember, it's the faster you go to the top, the faster you come back to the bottom. And he goes, you take your time to get there, because he goes, if you raise really quick, you're just going to get slapped right back down. And I feel like that's Luke Combs. I feel like he's going to be really hot for an album or two. Then by the third album, I think he's just going to fizzle back down and kind of be back to just human again, not superhuman like he is now. But that's something that I know Eric used to say he always stuck with him, that Chris Christopherson told him. And I see that so true, that I see so many artists that take the time to sit down and grind, and other than the ones that use kind of like the TV show success, The Voice and everything else. The ones that have like overnight success, because I see all the ones that have the overnight success have the overnight downfall really quick too. I mean, it's the 1-2 hits, they're gone. And the artists kind of like yourself that are grinding in the bars and the honky tonks and are kind of putting their fans first and kind of sitting around for a little longer. And I see that they have more of a shelf life on their albums than maybe Luke Combs will have. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like I think he's going to fade out as quick as he faded in.
Yeah, I mean, time will tell, man. But to give a little testament of where he is, I don't know Luke personally. I know some of the guys that wrote songs for him and things. But in 2000, I actually have an email from 2015 that I got asked to open for Luke. He was coming through Cincinnati and just playing acoustic, and I was already booked on a show. But the reality is, just in 2015, he was in a van or wherever, and he was, traveling around acoustic, and there might have been 70 people at that show. And it's kind of funny looking back on it, but no matter how fast you go up and you go down, actually Aaron Tippin told me this one time at a show, and he said, you're going to play the same places going up as you do coming down. And so the trick is no matter how fast that happens, it's the type of person that you are to the world. From my seat, I mean, it looks like Luke's a great guy doing good, making good music and having the time of his life. So no matter how fast that happens, you know, I wish those guys well, but it is interesting to sit back and kind of watch how it happens, and we can kind of get sucked into that. But yeah, I mean, he's a monster, and they're doing great things for sure.
So what was played in your household growing up? Like who was your inspiration? Like your parents? Who did your parents grow you up on?
So country music was Alan Jackson. My mom loved her some Alan Jackson. And then, you know, but to be the biggest thing that she ever listened to was Paul Simon. She was, you know, that record
Nice.
Graceland of Paul Simon was just on repeat in our house. So I kind of got some pop sensibility to my hearing and what I was into, I think, lyrically because of Paul Simon.
But he did the one, You Can Call Me Al, right?
Oh yeah, it's one of the best.
I love that song. Chevy Chase, I think, was in it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, he sets something up on that there's a table and he sets something on there, but there's no glass and it just falls. It's the best video of all time.
So that's cool. It was kind of like my house. My mom raised me up in the country. It was like Vince Gill, Patsy Cline. She loved. My dad was more Aerosmith, Supertramp, stuff like that. I mean, I remember him taking me to see Supertramp when I was younger, and probably one of the coolest shows I think I ever saw because it was a big band and all the sounds. I was like, what is this stuff? And I'm like, it was a really cool band that I used to love just growing up. So it's really kind of like to see where your influence are that kind of led you to. I mean, did you always think you'd play country, or did you think you'd kind of go in a different way, or like, what were you into? Like, what did you? Because did you despise your parents? Did you roll with what they were into, or what were you into?
Yeah, I mean, the truth behind that would be my parents aren't really musical people. They love good music, you know. So Jimmy Buffett was on at the Pool, or the Eagles, you know, and Brooks and Dunn, Alan Jackson. So I mean, I was just always kind of around it. I never really sat down, and maybe I should have done this, but I never really sat down and was like, I'm going to play this, or this is the style that I'm going to be, or this is the type of artist, or I think my life just naturally progressed. So I grew up kind of a punk rock kid, just through the music that we listened through, you know, listening to punk rock music and just the bands, and yeah, punk rock influence. That's right. And you know, naturally, I think that was just where I was at. My high school, there was a bunch of bands, and you know, they were the screamo kind of yelling, screaming bands. And I remember being in a yearbook class one day, and literally a group of us were like, we should start like just a rock and roll band that, like, when my aunt comes to the show, she can like understand what I'm saying, you know. And I had written some songs by that time, so that kind of started it. There was a band called Dashboard Confessional when I was growing up.
Yep.
Every syllable that guy wrote, I just hung on to and fell in love with. And songwriting really came to me after that, where it was like, okay, this all makes sense, and this is a culture that I want to be around. And that's when I started finding friends that made music that I like to make. And then I was in a band all through college, and you know, once that all kind of fell apart, I just kept playing, and I kept the band name, and it was just me for a while. And then
what was the band name?
We were called the Gambling District.
All right.
Yeah, I think you can still find it out there somewhere in the world. But
that's funny.
So I just kept playing, and then my songwriting just naturally progressed as I grew up. My writing grew up, and my stories changed, and you know, life influenced what was going on. And we had our first song when I was 20. So you know, it wasn't my life at 20 wasn't being in college and going to frat parties. I mean, I was out playing music and in college, and I had a family. So I just naturally progressed, and then next thing you know, I was in Nashville, and here we are today.
And that's what brought you inside here. When you first came to Nashville, were you playing a lot of the bars out on Broadway, or kind of like what were you playing? When were you first started playing in Nashville?
So I kind of found my way down there through writers' rounds as a songwriter versus bringing the band down. I brought my band down really early. Like we played Whiskey Bent Saloon, and there was an old place called the Silver Dollar Saloon, some spots like that. But really, it's always been about writing. Yeah, and Revival. Yeah, there you go, man. You're on top of it. So I I walked into Tin Roof on Demumbrian. I can't tell you what year it was. I just don't remember. Maybe I was going down like once or twice a year, and then started coming down more often. And on a Tuesday night, I walked in, was talking to somebody that I was writing with, and they said, "Go check out Revival." So Revival 615, and actually Channing Wilson.
Nice.
This sounds kind of like a storybook thing because of what Channing's doing now. But I walked in and Channing was playing on a round, and I remember leaving there and just had this feeling of like, okay, I found people that love songwriting as much as I do, and I've never been able to find that anywhere in the world, or anywhere that I've been, and so that really changed my perspective on what I wanted to do, and how I was going to do it, because words made songs, and the songs are what it's still to this day. It's all about the song. It all starts with the songs.
Oh, I agree. It's where it's born. I mean, I know I was talking about house shows and whatnot, and I have a buddy of mine, Rick Tigers, played here, and he had a thing that was called "It All Starts with the Song," and that was one of the tours he was doing. And I told him, like, well, yeah, technically it all starts with the songwriter, and I'm a fan of the songwriter, and I like to see, and I've been seeing a lot more singer songwriters kind of taking the artist route, and I like that, just because I think there's more emotion when an artist sings his own song. A good example of what hurts the most: Rascal Flatts did it, Aaron Lewis did it. But man, listen to Jeffrey Steele do that song, and it hits you. Like, if you listen to the songwriters sing these songs, because Chris Christopherson, he has some of the best stuff, and he's not the best singer in the world either. But when he sings a song, you understand it and you get it because of the grit in the voice, and you're getting the emotion. And I don't think, like, when you get like a Jason Aldean or something like that, where you don't really write your own music, or a Tim McGraw, I don't think they can deliver as much. I feel like it's more of a performance than it is talent. And that's why I like seeing singer-songwriters go, because I love the Tim McGraws and everything else. I love that, but I want to see more of the raw emotion, and I think you can only get that with the songwriter.
Yeah, it's a different type of art from a performer to, just a songwriter, for sure. I know 100% what you mean. I actually saw Chris Christopherson at the Taft Theater, just him and his guitar, and I'd be lying if I didn't tell you I cried for like 45 minutes watching him play, man. Just so moving, and he'd get done with a song and he wouldn't even finish the chord. He would just stop and go to the next one, because I got things to tell y'all.
Yep, and it's amazing. Him live. It's just, I got to see him and Merle Haggard right before Merle died, probably like 6 or 8 months, and they did a quick tour together. My dad and I went, and it was probably two of the worst sounding singing people. And the way they were, like, the singing was not good that night, but just the fact of being able to sit in there and hear them like bounce stories off one another and hear all the classics, it was just amazing to hear all that. So, but it's just cool. It's cool to see all this. So, well, we're going to do a thing real quick. I normally will play music, but I'm not going to do that. But I have a thing called the hot seat, where I'll ask 10 questions, 60 seconds. I normally do it. But what they are, they're kind of like one question, or rapid questions is what I'm trying to say. So you just kind of say one word. Let's see how far we get through them. I'm not going to do the time limit, but let's see how far you can get. And it kind of goes with different things we've talked about throughout the podcast tonight. But go ahead.
I said I mentioned taking my boys to school. I'm kind of nervous because they do this stuff on the radio and it's all horrible.
Well, this is more geared towards you too. But what's one song you wish you wrote?
Oh man, there's a song, believe it or not, that Maddie and Tay wrote, and I can't think of it, but I just texted my band today and I said, "Don't judge me," but this song, it's called "Not Me" or something. It's like their single right now. It's incredible.
Okay, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Today, so.
If you were on The Masked Singer, who would you be? What character would you be?
I'd be a dragon.
Dragon, nice. At least you know what that show is. So my wife loves that show. So when I was doing questions today, I'm like, I gotta ask that question because I know my wife would probably love that. So dragon would be good though. What's your dream tattoo? I know you're a tattoo guy. But if you could get any tattoo, what would it be? What would you want?
My dream tattoo, if I could pull it off, would be a ghetto blaster right on my chest, like Travis Barker from Blink-182.
Nice. That would be cool.
Now
love
I'm
that.
working on a new one. I'm working on a new one though, so stay tuned.
Yeah, I'm itching. I'm itching for some new ink. They're so it's like podcasting. They're so addicting. So,
Yeah.
if you had a chance to open for any artist, who would it be?
Right now, man, I'd love to go open for Ashley McBride.
Nice. Well, you've already done that once, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But
For sure.
she's on a roll, man. She's gonna have
I
a
tell you
year.
what. I'll open. We'll have Ashley support and Eric headline.
Hey, I'll get behind that for sure. I bet you everybody in this chat will be too. So,
Come on.
what's one song when you hear it, you're 16 again?
Oh man. My wife just walked in. I should ask her because she'd have a good. Anything by Taking Back Sunday.
Oh, nice, dude. That was a good one. I was a Bird Pipe guy, freshman by Bird Pipe.
Yeah.
That's the one.
I had that CD, man. I used to sit there and yeah.
I love that. What's your dream venue to headline?
The Fox Theater up in Detroit.
Oh, that
is a special place to me. I saw one of my favorite bands on their last tour there, and I definitely indoor theater. Indoor, that would be outdoor. I'd love to hit Red Rocks.
Hell yeah, yeah. I went to the Gorge for the first time last year, and that place was just. I want to do Red Rocks so bad soon. So, but one of these days we'll see. All right, best punk rock song.
Anything Taking Back Sunday.
All right. What's one word for Skyline Chili?
Delicious.
Nice. I love it. You always get your mix with it, but man, every time I hit Ohio, I gotta get me some Skyline, dude.
The problem is where we live, no matter how late you're coming home, either side there's Skylines on both sides, so you're doomed.
That is awesome. Go ahead.
I get teased a lot because I get mine with light chili because everybody likes all the chili, but I drive so much, I got in the habit of always getting light chili, so while you're driving, you can scarf it down. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love it, man. I try to get through Ohio every now and then, and I think we're on to Cedar Point this year. So, awesome. But there's somebody. I knew Chris Johnson was going to weigh on that because he's not a Skyline fan. So you have your people. I think Skyline's kind of like a love it or hate it thing. It's kind of like not a middle thing, but sure. It's definitely a thing you have to try. So, but who is your dream co-write partner?
Oh man, I'd love to write with Wyatt Durrett.
Okay.
He's when I started out, I was a big fan of Levi Lowry. And, him and Levi wrote Colder Weather for Zach Brown. Yep. I've just always loved how he does things. And as far as I'm concerned, I mean, he's at the top of the game, and I'd love to get in a room with him sometime. Yeah, that'd be cool. So maybe it could transpire to this next question. This is the last one, number 10. You just sold out the Bluebird Cafe, you and 3 other artists. Who else? Who are the 3 other artists? Who's on the bill with you? Oh, man, that's a tough one. Oh, jeez. I gotta have. I'd say I'll say me, Ashley, and Eric again. So maybe we can go on tour. There you go, and throw Wyatt in there too. Get some good songs. So. All right, man. Well, you got a new song getting ready to come out in March. Tell me a little bit about this song. Yeah, man. The song's called Cigarettes and Jesus. And I've been playing it out for a while live and just fell in love with it. And it's just a real life kind of song. I wrote it with Ashley Taylor, and we kind of started talking about the life we live on the road. And then that kind of transcribed into just talking about life in general. So we walk through this life with the pluses and the minuses, the good, the light and the dark. And sometimes, it takes a while to get through the dark, but God always brings us back to him. And that's what this song is about, summed up, kind of burning both ends of Saturday night, if you will, from Saturday night into Sunday morning. And sometimes it's hard to get through Saturday night. So that's where Cigarettes and Jesus came from. Here, I'm going to play this quick video real quick. What was it? A 30-second video. Yeah, 30 seconds. Of you just kind of talking about the song a little bit. About I'm a front row sinner. Like, oh, yeah. Oh. I'm a front row. I'm a front row. I'm a front row. I'm a front row. I'm a front row sinner. I'm a front row sinner. Like the preacher said, I need a double shot.
of whiskey and forgiveness. Man, I don't wanna quit. Cigarettes and Jesus.
This is gonna be a hit, dude. This is gonna be a big year for this song, I think. That sounds good. I know you played it at the party, right? I think you played it at the party because that's the one with the church choir line in it.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's awesome. Well, you should play one. We won't play one for us tonight.
Definitely, man. I'm looking at the clock. I know
All
we're
right.
both podcasters. We'll talk for hours. So.
Yeah, that's how they go. So let's go ahead and get you to play this song, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it up. And yeah, it's crazy how quick it goes, man. And I was doing 90 minutes for a while, but I went back and looked at my stats. I know you kind of look at your podcast stats, and it's like 75 minutes, you start losing people. So I was like, all right, let's keep it at 75. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's hear this song, man. I'm excited.
Yeah, this is Cigarettes and Jesus coming out here real soon. I've seen the light from heaven and a neon sign. I felt the burn from getting high on Saturday night. I heard Sunday morning coming down. The church choir was singing about Amazing Grace, how he died for me. You know I can't live without cigarettes and Jesus. Always pick me up, I can't put them down. I can't live without them. I'm either heaven sent or hell bound. From the Marlboro red letters written in red, I'm a front row sinner, like the preacher said. I need a double shot of whiskey and forgiveness. Man, I don't want to quit. Cigarettes and Jesus. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John remind me of what the gospel says. Jack and Jim and Maker's Mark always help me to forget what a mess I'm in. 'Cause the good Lord knows if it was up to me, I'd blow it all up in smoke. Cigarettes, Jesus, always pick me up. I can't put them down. I can't live without them. I'm either heaven sent or hell bound. From the Marlboro red letters written in red, I'm a front row sinner, like a preacher said. I need a double shot of whiskey and forgiveness. Man, I don't want to quit. Cigarettes and Jesus. Yeah. Cigarettes and Jesus. Cigarettes and Jesus. Always pick me up, I can't put them down. I can't live without them. I'm either heaven sent or hell bound. My burl red letters written in red. I'm a front row sinner, like a preacher said. I need a double shot of whiskey and forgiveness. Man, I don't want to quit. Oh, what a mess I'm in. I don't want to quit. Cigarettes and Jesus. Cigarettes and Jesus.
Man, that is going to be a hit. That is good. I love that song,
sir.
man. So when you started writing that song, did you kind of know, just have a feeling that you were writing one that you were proud? I mean, I'm sure you're proud of all of them, but like music is kind of like children in a way. I look at it as, I mean, you kind of growing them up, and then you release them out to the wild. And before you release that song out, did you know it was going to kind of have the impact it's having so far?
Yeah, people always say that about children. I think they're kind of like distant cousins that don't go away. Because I mean, when I wrote that song that night, I left and I remember just hitting it. It hit me like I think we got one. And then a month goes by. And next thing you know, you're playing out a writers round. And then I sent it to the band. I think I think I believe in this. And then a couple more months go by. And next thing you know, we're playing it out everywhere. Fans are loving it, and it just doesn't go away at that point. To bring it on the children's side, I mean, and then it's time to bring it in and care for it and really bring it to life. I'm really excited about this song. I think we nailed it in the studio, and I just can't wait to get it out.
Well, we're already over time, which of course always happens on shows, but we are having a bunch of requests in the chat going for Time Only Runs One Way.
Oh, okay, cool.
You mind doing that one as we go out? Like, we'll head out on that one. Sure. So, but we'll sign off after that song. Go ahead and play that one. Let's do one more.
Talk about a song that won't go away. This might be one of them. I wrote this with Shelly Tackett and Blue Foley and Chad Wilson. Sorry. Casey tore down the driveway, dragging his Star Wars lunchbox and his brand new shoes and Levi's. Mom and Daddy bought first day of school. I wanted to go to. Next thing you know, I was 12 years old. Baseball cards and the spokes chasing dust. His first truck, and there I was. I wanted to go to. And I heard a whistle call me back. My old man lit up a cigarette. He said, son, time only runs one way. Don't hurry, tomorrow can't wait. Live the moment that you're in, 'cause now is all you're gonna get. You know what I'm talking about someday. Don't wish your life away. Baseball cards turn into Little League, and my little man said, Daddy, did you see? I was chasing down the American dream, checking emails on my phone. And I saw myself in those blue eyes looking up at me. I can hear the old man say, time only runs one way. Don't hurry, tomorrow can't wait. Live the moment that you're in, 'cause now is all you're gonna get. You know what I'm talking about someday. Don't wish your life away. Don't wish your life away. His hands were cold as the bed frame. I was bedside as he reached for me. The family all came and went. It was the first time I felt bigger than him. Took his breath, made his peace. These were the last words he ever spoke to me. Time only runs one way. Don't hurry, tomorrow can't wait. Live the moment that you're in, 'cause now is all you're gonna get. You know what I'm talking about someday. Time only runs one way. Don't hurry, tomorrow can't wait. Live the moment that you're in, 'cause now it's all you're gonna get. You know what I'm talking about someday. Don't wish your life away. Don't wish your life away.
Wow, that was, man. I'm kind of speechless, man. That was good. That was really, really good. Now, what's the name of that one again?
It's called Time Only Runs One Way.
That is awesome, man. That is a great song.
Thank you.
Great song.
Yeah, that's one of them ones that keeps finding its way back. That's for sure.
For sure, man. So March, we got the new one coming out, Cigarettes and Jesus. I love that one. It's so funny because I know we were talking earlier, and there's so much more I wanted to cover. We're going to have you come back sometime, just about you being a dad and everything else. And when I hear that anytime now, and it's kind of funny because the Larry the Cable Guy joke too. But my kids, whenever they say Cheez-Its, it sounds like they say Jesus. And it's every time I hear Jesus now, I hear the word Cheez-Its. So it's just funny. Like I was looking at that, I'm like, man, they were saying Cheez-Its all night tonight. Why we're singing that song? Well, I'm trying to think of other things. So, but man, thank you so much for hanging out. I'm gonna go ahead in the show links tonight. I'll share all your links, but go ahead and tell us everywhere anybody can find you.
Yeah, man, everything is at Noah Smith Music, noahsmithmusic.com, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Everything's Noah Smith Music. Make sure you put music on there. You can stream all my music right now on iTunes and Spotify, pretty much all streaming platforms. Noah Smith Music. We got all kinds of new tour dates coming up. We're hitting the road pretty hard this year, and new music coming real soon. So hopefully I'll see y'all at a show very soon.
And like his podcast, subscribe to it, The Long Cut. But Noah, thank you so much for spending time with us. We got to have you back. I just dropped your website into the chat. So guys, go ahead and check his website out. If he's coming to a town near you, check him out. Check the new single out in March. It's going to blow up, and we got to make it. We got to put this thing up the charts, man. We got to help you out. So,
Thank you so much for that.
We'll catch up soon, and I'm going to try to come out and see you in April in Chicago. So I'm going to put it on my calendar.
Yeah, don't miss the next show, Aaron. Come
on. I
I
know. Next time you're in Chicago, I'll make sure I'm there. So, all right, man. Well, you take care. You have an amazing 2020. I wish you nothing but the best of luck. And thank you for spending some time with me tonight, man.
All right, thanks, brother.
Have a good one, buddy. You guys, that was amazing. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I had fun. I got lost a couple of times just chatting with the guy. I have so much more that I had wrote down that I wanted to go over and talk to him about, and we're gonna have to have him back on. We almost hit our 90 minutes. Look at that. I was gonna just do it 75 minutes tonight. We will not be having a Patreon after show tonight. I do have some things I have to wrap up. I have a very important. My life's getting ready to changing. I guess I should say over the next couple of days. I'm having surgery on Friday on my left arm. I think I have a cyst in my elbow that's blocking my ulnar nerve. So they're going to kind of relieve pressure on my ulnar nerve where I don't have any feeling in half my hand. So I'm doing that on Friday, and I start my new job on Monday. So I will not be able to do a show next Tuesday. We will be back 2 weeks from tonight, and we will have my good friend Donna Warner on. You saw her earlier this year. She came on, or last year, and was part of our 5-minute guest as a concert reviewer. And now we're going to bring her back on and talk to her all about her church. So I'm very excited. We got Donna coming on. After Donna, we have Kim Brown. And then we'll have our next singer-songwriter artist, Mr. Luke Dick, coming on. He is responsible for songs Kill a Word, Round Here Buzz, as many as Kit Moore's songs and many others. But he will be closing out our season 1 as our episode 21. And then season 2 will start with a bang, and we will be announcing season 2 very soon. I cannot wait to announce who's all coming on season 2. It's going to be great. But so the next 3 shows is Donna Warner, Kim Brown, and Luke Dick. I'm very excited for Luke Dick, just as like I was Noah Smith tonight, because Noah was amazing. It was, like I said, just kind of catching up with a good buddy of mine. And I just found out about a week ago that we were going to be able to have him on, so I didn't have much time to prepare for tonight. But I knew I wasn't too worried about it because everything I've heard about Noah has been nothing but great. From Jeff Brown, from everybody. I've heard nothing but good words from this guy. I've listened to him with Ray's Rowdy and his lyrics. So if you guys are members of the church choir, make sure you guys go out and check out other artists. It's okay for us to like other artists, and that's why I want to bring them on this podcast. People like Noah, and maybe people that don't have anything that really do with Eric Church, but when you break it down, he kind of does. I mean, kind of his path that he follows, he's doing a lot of things his own way and whatnot. Well, I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, come on, bring some spotted cow. I mean, you want to stay home with the real cows or come see me and I have spotted cow? I mean, kind of whatever you want to do, Staples. So if you guys are tuning in tonight on our streaming services, please go ahead and subscribe, hit 5 stars, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, anywhere else. If you're live tonight, thank you for so much spending your Tuesday night with me. If you haven't checked over our Patreon yet, I'll be announcing our February contest over the weekend. This week, I hope. Like I said, things are going to be changing the next couple of days with the surgery and starting a new job. So I'm going to be trying to get everything caught up and everything done. But go over to our Patreon and check it out. I'll share the link in our chat. But go check out our Patreon if you can. And if you can help out in any way, great perks and great cheers. We're going to have some fun. So thanks for tuning in tonight. And have a great weekend. I'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Have a great Valentine's Day. But thanks again, guys. Thanks for all your support. I appreciate it.